And now it's time for us to move on to Mornings with Maria with a familiar face, Lauren Simonetti, who's filling in. Lauren, it's been a while. How you doing?
It's been a while since I've seen
anything?
you. I didn't fill up my coffee cup. That's about all that you mixed. You don't have any time, girl. You're busy today. All right. Good morning, everybody. I am Lauren Simonetti in for Maria Bartiromo. It is Friday, December 28th. Here are your top stories at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. All of that coming up with me. And this morning, we also have Fox News contributor and Greg Gutfeld show correspondent and National Review reporter. That is one big title, Kat Timpf in white. Beyond Sport global ambassador and Fox News contributor Jeanne Layfield, and former State Department spokesperson and co-host of Benson and Harf on Fox News Radio, Marie Harf. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
What a strange week.
I mean, what a way to end the year. So many ups and downs, and it just feels like the news hasn't stopped at all.
I know. Are we ending the year up or down, though? What do you guys think?
I have no idea. Both?
Yeah, I think both is safe to say.
Yeah.
I think everybody is going to need a glass of champagne on New Year's Eve, right?
At least one.
Or just a shot of whiskey.
And then you see that veteran, then you can live to 112 years old. A vet lived to 112 by smoking cigars and drinking whiskey. Anyway, all right, also coming up this morning, Wells Fargo Investment Institute Senior Global Equity Strategist Scott Wren, Ohio Congressman, House Ways and Means Committee member, and Iraq War veteran Brad Wenstrup, former CKE Restaurant CEO and former Labor Secretary nominee Andy Puzder, and Texas Congressman, medical doctor, and member of the House Energy and Commerce Committee, Michael Burgess. You don't want to miss it. Market's still up with about 3 hours before the opening bell, but we have halved the gains that we saw earlier. The Dow futures higher by 66 points. They were up about 140 just moments ago. The byline right now in the Wall Street Journal, blue chips log a record rebound yesterday after the week's biggest point gain the day before. So volatility is the name of the game. We'll see. Speaking of extreme, it's outside too. We're watching the weather for you this morning. The Midwest taking a hit by heavy snow, while the East Coast is gearing up for flash floods. Fox News meteorologist Adam Klotz live in the Weather Center with the bad news.
It is going to be a mild start to this new year, even though we're talking about a big snowstorm in the middle of the country.
And if you're in Times Square, that's a lot of people probably gonna, enjoy the nice weather.
Yeah, it was like -4 last year, so this is better.
That's right. Adam,
Yeah.
thank you. Kat Timpf, you plan to spend New Year's right in Times Square, right?
Not this year, no. I did last year when it was below zero for Fox, and I couldn't feel my feet. Richard Fowler had to kind of drag me back to the van because I couldn't walk. It was so
crazy.
cold. Yeah, it was nuts.
What about you? What are you doing for New Year's?
I'm going to northern New Hampshire, so it's going to be very cold, and I hope a lot of snow.
And you're headed south, sort of.
I'm headed south to see my dad today, and then come back to D.C. For New Year's Eve.
I can't believe this is like it. Monday is New Year's Eve.
I know. I can't.
Wow. It always happens.
2019 is here.
It's been a full year, a wild year, especially on Wall Street. Maria Bartiromo is going to wrap up the highs and the lows of the year in business for us in just a bit. Plus, it is deadline day for Sears. The retailer is bankrupt. It needs to find a buyer for its assets by the end of the day today or face liquidation. They'll sell them.
Girl, to call my own. I want a dream lover, so I don't have to dream alone. Dream lover, where...
Roller coaster year for business. Maria Bartiromo takes a look back at the highs and lows of 2018.
The year in business will likely go down, remembered mostly for how it's ending, with head-spinning moves in the stock market and uncertainty gripping the globe.
So bottom lining that 2018 was the year of the big surprise, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Right? And we're 1 year out basically from the tax cuts having taken effect. We're seeing the impact of that, sort of a mixed bag as we look back on those tax cuts. Corporate profits are up. Some workers got benefits. Some plants have kept closing, like in my home state of Ohio, Lordstown, Ohio.
Oh.
So that's a big one. That's going to be a big issue, seeing how these tax cuts play out over the next few months. Also, as Maria mentioned, trade and NAFTA. New Congress coming in. It is not a given that they will approve the new NAFTA. I think it's likely, but it's not a given. And so that will be another political fight. And of course, China trade. This is the big ticket item the president has to get something done on. I think his supporters who are impacted, soybean farmers, steel producers, they've been willing to give him some leeway here sometime, but I don't think it's indefinite. So as we look to 2019, that time may run out at some point.
We do have hope. There's going to be a January sit-down between both sides, Washington and Beijing, to try to get something done as the 90-day trade truce that expires in March. That clock is ticking.
Yeah, and you look at the tape from Maria. You had a market that was doing pretty well the first 6 months, and all of a sudden these trade war kicks in.
Yeah.
And you have so much unpredictability and so much volatility. It started from that point. I think Brexit right here is underestimated. I think Brexit next year could fall completely apart.
David Kudlow said he's not touching Europe.
I think the EU could fall apart. If Brexit is a hard Brexit, then Italy will probably drop out of the EU as well, and the EU dissolves. That is a big deal going on in Europe, and that is not priced into the market yet.
That is a very interesting call, because we're fixated on the Federal Reserve and the status of Jay Powell and what's going on with China as being our two biggest headwinds, but Brexit
it's all things you
two countries perhaps going out of the EU.
That's right, and the whole EU could dissolve on that. If UK has to stay in, that will send a message to Italy: you got to get your debt under control. Italy will probably rein in its debt and stay in the EU. If Brexit is a hard Brexit, which it looks like it certainly could be, I think Italy drops out as well.
They never planned for the hard Brexit. That was the problem. That was the problem.
I just think it's been crazy to see everything that's happened with Facebook this year.
Yeah.
I think they've had such a bad year, and now Google, too, with all the privacy stuff.
Are you still on Facebook?
I'm still on Facebook, yes, but I'm concerned about some of my private messages, the fact that people have read those. I mean, you don't really think about it. You think of it as being, oh, private message, it's a private message, but nothing's private. There's no such thing.
Right. Yeah. Coming up, the shutdown showdown in Washington, and right now, no end in sight. We're going to take a look at what could happen when Democrats take control of the House next week, and blue skies at night. What caused this stunning blue scene over New York City late last night? We missed it. We were sleeping. New Reuters poll shows the majority of Americans blame President Trump for the shutdown, while only 33% blame the Democrats in Congress. Joining me now is Daily Caller News Foundation Editor-in-Chief Christopher Bedford. Chris, good morning.
Good morning.
Does it matter who we blame? It matters the solution here, right?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter that much who you blame. We're 2 years away from anybody voting. And despite everyone in Washington always freaking out over poll this or poll that when the government shuts down, it doesn't seem to have a huge electoral effect, with that, except with a possible exception of a Virginia election a few years ago when Virginia was so heavily affected by the shutdown.
Hi, it's Catherine. I just have a question. In terms of how this all ends, what do you think would be better politically for the president, if he ends the shutdown, or do you think conservatives would see it as him folding if he doesn't get border wall funding?
I think conservatives would see it as him folding, absolutely. The best possible outcome for the president would be some kind of compromise where Democrats say they'll give a little bit more for a wall, but maybe it wouldn't be a wall. Maybe it'll be steel slots or something. He'll claim a victory there, and then he won't, at least no one will go home empty-handed. However, if the Democrats also have a possibility to appear to be adults in the room, to give him some kind of compromise like that and say, look, we're the House of Representatives that opened up government. But I also think that right now both sides don't have that much to lose. They're 2 years out from an election. I know this is really cynical, but they don't have that much to lose because voters will forget about some of this squabbling. And what they will remember is if Democrats voted for the wall or if Republicans did not vote for the wall.
Marie, what do you think the Democratic ticket in 2020 looks like then?
I think we have no idea. You know, that poll is basically a name recognition poll at this point. And if you look at polls from the same time in the 2016 cycle, in the 2008 cycle with Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama wasn't polling anywhere close to that in 2006, right? At this point in the 2008 cycle, there's going to be 20, 25 people in the primary, and I actually think the process will work out. People that can survive on the national stage will do better, and people who can't won't.
But these big names,
we have no idea,
bring in the money. They do. It's like, how can Hillary Clinton run again, but she can fundraise? Yeah, but she's not, well, I hope she doesn't run again, I should say that. But, you know, fundraising's also changed. We see Beto, who raised so much from small dollar donors online. Fundraising is very different today than it was even 10 years ago in terms of getting those big donors. Grassroots donors matter now a lot more.
But where does the Democratic Party go from here? You know, in 2009, the Republican Party was in disarray, much like the Democratic Party is right now. The Tea Party rose. For a while, it influenced elections, then it kind of faded. Right now, the Socialist Party is rising for the same reasons, because they're mad at the political leadership. Where does that go from here? There's going to be a fight in the Democratic Party in 2020 because there are some high-profile progressives like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez who did win, but the reason Democrats won the majority in the House is because of moderates who won in the Midwest, in the Plain States, in the South. There's going to be a fight over who can win, and the most important thing will be who can beat Donald Trump.
It's going to be a very interesting year. Christopher Bedford, thank you for joining us and for all of that. Gave us a lot to talk about here on set. All right, coming up, retail wreck. JCPenney shares falling below $1, making it a penny stock, 97 cents for the first time in its very long history. The mysterious blue light filling the New York City skyline last night. Kristina Partsinevelos, what was this light all about?
Oh, that sky was sparkling. Rapid speculation on social media. Some suggested it could be a strange weather phenomenon. Some even said aliens. Yes, it's true, but it turns out it was a blown transformer in Queens that shined brightly. The small explosion caused some scattered power outages in the city, including at LaGuardia International Airport. The outage there resulted in multiple flight delays. Thankfully, though, no one was hurt, but we love the speculation online. Last year's special election in Alabama reportedly drawing the attention of the state's Attorney General, Steve Marshall, telling the Washington Post a disinformation campaign targeting GOP Senate candidate Roy Moore may have violated state campaign laws and affected the outcome of the race. Moore was defeated by Democrat Doug Jones. Marshall says his office is collecting information about the Russian-style disinformation campaign called Project Birmingham. Meanwhile, LinkedIn founder Reid Hoffman is apologizing for giving money to the group allegedly behind the campaign. Hoffman says he was unaware of its tactics. And bids to acquire Sears are due in U.S. bankruptcy court today at 4 p.m. But Sears chairman Eddie Lampert, the only buyer who has expressed interest in keeping Sears in business, is reportedly struggling to come up with financing to make good on his $4.6 billion offer to buy the company. And since we're speaking of struggling retailers, JCPenney just became a penny stock. Shares of the company fell as low as 32 cents before closing down 7.5% at 97 cents. It's the first time they've ever closed below $1 since JCPenney went public in the late 1970s. Shares of the company down nearly 70% this year. I heard one of you whistle. Has anybody been to JCPenney just within the last year or so?
Well, that's the problem. I mean, retail is strong right now, but not for everybody. I don't know. Anyone go to JCPenney in the last year?
No, most certainly not.
Anyone see the blue light last night?
No,
I was asleep. I was asleep.
If you saw it at home, tweet us.
Yes.
Apparently it had to be in Queens. All right. Coming up, it's almost time to ring in 2019, and nothing says celebration like a bottle of bubbly. We've got a wide array of wines you can toast to when the ball drops. We get the time.
Everybody.
Good morning. I'm Lauren Simonetti in for Maria Bartiromo. Today it is Friday, December 28th. Here are your top stories at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. It was an online freakout. The internet collectively hitting back at Instagram over an app redesign. The outrage coming up. We can get outraged about a lot of stuff these days. Here with me to break it all down, Fox News contributor Greg Gutfeld, show correspondent, and National Review reporter Kat Timpf, Beyond Sport Global Ambassador and Fox News contributor John Layfield, and former State Department spokesperson and co-host of Benson and Harf on Fox News Radio, Marie Harf. Are we outraged about anything this Friday morning?
No.
It's early.
Not yet.
We had wine already, so I feel good about the day.
I'm outraged the Baylor game was so late last night, and I have to show this early.
I knew you were annoyed about something today. I'm picking something up over here.
It was a wonderful game, though. My local Texas Baylor Bears did well last night, 45-38, I believe it was.
And we got it in college football.
We got more coming up this morning. Wells Fargo Investment Institute Senior Global Equity Strategist Scott Wren, former CKE Restaurant CEO and former Labor Secretary nominee Andy Puzder, and Texas Congressman, medical doctor, and member of the House Energy and Commerce Committee, Michael Burgess. A mystery hacker exposing the identities of North Korean defectors. Kristina Partsinevelos with the details. Kristina.
Lauren, no one is sure who stole the names, birth dates, and addresses of nearly 1,000 North Korean defectors. The information was taken from a resettlement agency in South Korea and then leaked. The center helps provide people who have escaped oppression and poverty in North Korea with jobs as well as medical and legal support. North Korean hackers have been in the past accused of cyber attacks on South Korean state agencies and businesses, but it's unknown who's responsible for this breach. Former American Express CEO Ken Chenault announcing plans to step down from the boards of IBM and Procter & Gamble in February. The news triggering speculation he might be named Facebook's first independent chairman. Jeanne is a director at the company, and Facebook says he will continue to serve in that capacity. Independent Facebook shareholders have been pushing the company to break up Mark Zuckerberg's dual roles as CEO and chairman. Facebook shares, though, are higher ever so slightly in pre-market trading. And Facebook, we're going to stick with that, said it fixed a bug on Instagram yesterday that led to a temporary change in the appearance of its feed for a large number of users. The bug led to a small test being distributed widely. Some users had to tap and swipe their feeds horizontally to view new posts, much like Tinder. Similar also to the Stories feature. The brief change sparked outrage on Twitter, with many comparing it to Snapchat's unpopular design. I unfortunately missed out on that. I'm happy I didn't see it. I don't know if it was really a bug or maybe they're testing it out. But Lauren, I think you saw it, right?
I saw it. I hated it, actually. So now they know their answer. Nobody liked it. So
exactly,
whatever
get
it was,
rid of it. Yeah.
Don't do it. Anyone else see it?
No.
No.
But if that was a trial balloon for them, that was a failure. So, hey, you're right. They got their answer.
Kat? I feel like you're big on Instagram. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I'm big on Instagram, but I didn't see this because I was on a plane, so I didn't.
You missed the whole
It was like the
fiasco.
only hour of the world that I was not on Instagram, so
Got it.
missed it.
Well,
I would have been outraged.
Lucky you. Coming up, curbing vaping. The head of the FDA wants a meeting with the e-cigarette executives to discuss the rise of teen vaping. Plus, take care of your selfie. Why doctors are warning people to watch for wrist pain as they struggle to get the perfect shot. Oh my goodness. Cryptocurrency in the new year after Bitcoin took a huge dive in 2018. All eyes are looking ahead to what happens in 2019. 1 year ago, Bitcoin was at just over $19,000. Well, today, its value has fallen to just about $3,600. Let's bring in Black FX COO and EVP, Coppa. Thanks for coming on, Kara.
Glad to be here.
I thought Bitcoin was going to, like, what did John McAfee say? It's going to 500,000 by 2020?
We all thought it was going crazy, but I think the cybersecurity issues were a big problem this year. $1 billion so far in 2018 were lost, the biggest heists in world history in humanity.
So how do we prevent something like that from happening in 2019?
Cybersecurity. So there's a lot of issues with blockchain. It is a new technology. BlackFX has uncovered many issues. We have 18+ patents pending to fix all those. We have lots of solutions to fix all those problems and make it more secure and ensure that your money stays that way.
Mm-hmm.
What is the future of cryptocurrency? You know, the appeal is that it's anonymous and untraceable. Mm-hmm. And if that's the case, then governments can't tax it and federal banks can't control the ebb and flow of currency so that they can't control inflation. So it makes central banks and governments either insolvent or worthless, which governments are going to fight that. So is cryptocurrency the future? Is it going to be a store of value or is it going to be a fiat currency?
Yeah, so I think we're working with the governments right now, especially in Malta with Blockchain Island, and helping them to create cybersecurity regulations to ensure that there is no theft and to ensure that we can move forward with this as a currency in the future. I think that as we see more asset-backed tokens, they're tokenizing buildings, highways, sports teams, right?
Oh, wow.
Fractionalizing different types of assets so that other people can get involved. It can go mainstream, but it has to be secure.
But do you think, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Apologize, Kara. Do you think it'll be a currency? Do you think it'll be a currency that'll be widespread, or do you think it's just going to be a store of value like gold?
Yeah, I think 2019 we'll start to see governments come on board and launch their own cryptocurrencies. Dubai, for example, by 2020 they will have their initiative is to have their entire government on blockchain.
That is a stunning statistic, a goal that you talk about there. Governments on the other side are talking about some of the security problems, not just with theft, but with terrorist organizations being able to use it, drug traffickers, because it's anonymous, because it's untraceable. How are governments working on that piece of the security issue?
Yeah, so I think once you do make it secure, then you don't have to have it anonymous, right? You can have governments part of that bigger picture, and when you bring in banks and governments into this cutting-edge technology, it goes a long way, right? But I think that's also another prediction that we'll see here in 2019. We'll see a lot of alliances. So we'll see government sector coming in together, different exchanges and cybersecurity companies coming together to make it a much better, tighter technology.
What is your best guess as which cryptocurrency makes it? When you talk about cryptocurrency, I don't understand blockchain is different. These governments doing this, like you see in the Baltic states, was a phenomenal thing for the governments with the national IDs that they can do. But as far as the cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin now, it costs more to mine it than it does to actually make it. Does Ethereum make it? Does Bitcoin make it? Do you have a prediction as far as which cryptocurrency is going to make it, at least in 2019?
Yeah, I don't. I think that remains to be seen. I think Bitcoin was a great proof of concept. I think it'll be around for a really long time, but it's more of a something collectible, if you will.
It also seems like it was such a fad, but not enough places actually accepted it.
Another issue, right? So you need to have common liquidity pools, right? If you can't move your money from fiat to crypto and move it into e-commerce and be able to purchase something, it's really useless.
Yeah, what's the point of having it?
Exactly.
Okay, so there will be a point of having it in 2019, or are we looking more towards 2020? Because these seems like big issues that you'd have to fix.
Yeah, there are some major security issues, but I think that, again, BlackFX has fixed many of those, and we're building really tight, secure solutions to license to different companies, and I think that will go a long way in making a much more stable environment.
All right, Kara Coppa, thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
Welcome back. I'm Lauren Simonetti in from Bartiromo. It is Friday, December 28th. Your top stories at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Tackling a growing problem for parents across the country, vaping. The commissioner of the Food and Drug Administration now wants to meet with the heads of the e-cigarette companies. We're going to break it all down for you and the consequences. Plus, epic victory. The creator of the popular game Fortnite banking some big bucks in 2018. We've got the details and the numbers you will not believe. Plus, Holmes & Watson needs a clue. Will Ferrell getting some pretty bad reviews in his latest film, but we can tell you who the most bankable stars of 2018 actually are, not Will Ferrell. And you may want to buy that. Put that phone down. All those cool pictures may be giving you selfie wrist. It's actually a thing, the hidden health danger that's got doctors up in arms. Anyone take selfies?
Of course I do.
And did your wrist hurt?
Okay? My wrist is totally fine. Although I wonder how many selfies you would have to take to actually get selfie wrist. I mean, there's some people, I think that's all they do, like Instagram influencers. All they do is take selfies. So maybe that's a hazard of the job.
Well, stay tuned because we'll find out how hazardous it really is. The Food and Drug Administration stepping up its fight against what it calls an epidemic of teen vaping. Kristina Partsinevelos has the details. An epidemic, Kristina.
Yes, it is an epidemic because the FDA commissioner right now, Scott Gottlieb, says he will meet soon with the heads of e-cigarette companies to discuss their commitments to address this problem. The FDA has been cracking down on e-cig sales to minors, announcing a proposal last month to restrict the sale of most flavored e-cigs, which are popular among teenagers. The Surgeon General is calling for more steps to fight teen vaping, including higher taxes and bans on smoking e-cigarettes indoors. The creator of the wildly popular video game Fortnite, Epic Games, said the game made $3 billion in profit this year and amassed 200 million players since its fall 2017 debut. Even though the game is free, the revenue comes from players who make in-game purchases, and new numbers show iPhone users alone were spending more than $1 million every day on Fortnite purchases, nearly $40 million a month. Thanks to Fortnite's success, privately held Epic Games valuation in September was about $15 billion. And one San Francisco doctor is warning of a new injury. Wait for this. Caused by taking too many selfies. It's being called selfie wrist and can result in a numbing and tingling sensation experienced in the wrist and fingers. The doctor is seeing this condition more often and says it's a form of carpal tunnel syndrome. And because we have to, go to the stars for real news, Kim Kardashian West has been told by doctors to dial back the selfie taking. She's been diagnosed with selfie risk. But an update on this, too, is that Kim Kardashian says that she's no longer taking selfies because she published a selfie book and now she wants to live in the real world. Lauren, I'm more concerned about the posture thing because people are always on their phones like this.
Let me pick my jaw back up. Okay. I always thought Kim Kardashian had someone take her pictures.
Yeah, she has people to do that for her.
To take her selfies.
When was the last time you guys took a selfie?
This morning.
This morning? Yeah, I was going to say a few hours ago.
I don't take selfies.
I'm a 52 2-year-old male. You're not allowed to take selfies.
Sure you are.
Absolutely not.
You can get paid a lot of money if you do.
Good Lord. I think it's a phobia.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with people.
Picture with your flat tummy tea. There you go.
It also hurts your eyes. Like, that's a real... I was reading this story about how people now have to go to the eye doctor more because the screens and the computers are doing real damage to your eyes.
I get concerned.
So put it down, people.
About the younger generation who will only know selfies and social media and kind of evaluating themselves
based on likes.
Based on likes.
And in comparison to people, right, whose lives look so perfect online. It's
My daughter's 3, and she's like, Mommy, let me see the picture. If she catches me taking a picture of her, I took it. Don't worry about what it looks like. You look fine. A little worrisome.
Yeah. I think holidays without cell phones, I'm really into this right now. Putting your phone away for like Christmas dinner.
That's a trend.
It's a trend, and people are doing it, and people are saying the holidays are much better. You don't have to document every part of your meal at Christmas. It's okay.
How am I going to play words with friends?
Well, that's a different issue, I think.
Any thoughts on the teen vaping story?
I'm a big vapor.
Yeah.
I love vaping. Vaping is my life. Vape life for life. And I am disturbed that we can't sell mango pods for Juul in the stores anymore because of the teens.
That was your flavor?
It is my flavor, and I'm still purchasing them online, but I know it's not good for me, but I thought this was a free country. You know, if I want to have a little nicotine buzz all day long, then...
So what prevents you, like a teenager, from buying them online also?
I think that you have to be age verification, but I think it probably
when they deliver them?
Or? No, I think they're going to set up some sort of age verification system online where you get a code and all that. That's going to be happening.
But also maybe when they deliver, with alcohol, when they deliver it, you have to show that you're over 21, and also that you're not drunk when you sign for alcohol. Seriously. It's a true story.
The local New York delis don't do that.
They
just bring you booze.
That's true. That's true. Maybe in Washington it's different.
Oh, man. Coming up, a different sort of dynamic duo.
He's a master of disguise.
What have you done with Sherlock? Why, Watson? I never left. Oh, amazing.
Well, they left. Reviews are in for the new flick, Holmes and Watson, and we are going to tell you why critics say the mystery missed out and folks left the theater. Coming up. Good morning, I'm Lauren Simonetti in for Maria Bartiromo. It's Friday, December 28th. Here are your top stories at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Here with me to break it all down, Fox News contributor, Greg Gutfeld Show correspondent, and National Review reporter Kat Timpf, Beyond Sport Global Ambassador, and Fox News contributor John Layfield, and former State Department spokesperson and co-host of Benson and Harf on Fox News Radio, Marie Harf. All right. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Final hour here.
One more hour left.
How do we feel?
Oh, I feel great. I feel great. Yeah, it's great to get an early start, you know, be up at 3:30 in the morning. It's
and you
everyone's
just flew
favorite
in
thing.
last night.
I just flew in last night. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. But I was in bed by 8:30, so
good girl.
It was good.
Good girl. Bringing the energy this morning. Also joining the conversation, the former CKE restaurant CEO, as well as former Labor Secretary nominee Andy Puzder, and Texas Congressman Michael Burgess. So you don't want to miss a beat. All right, the president is tweeting again, and it is a long one. It's on trade. The United States loses so much money on trade with Mexico under NAFTA, over $75 billion a year, not including drug money, which would be many times that account, that I would consider closing the southern border a profit-making operation. We build a wall or, he goes on, close the southern border, bring our car industry back into the United States where it belongs, go back to pre-NAFTA, before so many of our companies and jobs were so foolishly sent to Mexico. Either we build, parentheses, finish the wall, or we close the border. He goes on. Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador are doing nothing for the United States but taking our money. Word is that a new caravan is forming in Honduras, and they are doing nothing about it. We will be cutting off all aid to these three countries, taking advantage of the U.S. for years. Initial reaction, Marie?
Initial reaction is this isn't helpful right now when, I should say, it doesn't look like the president's in a negotiating mood with the Democrats, right? He seems to be doubling and tripling down on the wall. He is really, you know, going back to his base with this message. He thinks it plays well with them. But the government shut down. Day 7, there are 800,000 workers not getting paychecks at Christmas. That message may work with a small percentage of people, but it's not going to work with everyone.
All right. Coming up, the fight for higher minimum wages, that is expanding. The start of the new year means bigger paychecks for Americans in nearly half the country. We have details. Plus, if you just got an Alexa for the holidays, beware, a fake app is wreaking havoc on the popular device. That story next. The manhunt continues for an alleged cop killer in California. Kristina Partsinevelos with the story.
Lauren, police actually say the gunman is in this country illegally. He allegedly shot 33-year-old police officer and legal immigrant Ronald Singh during a traffic stop the day after Christmas in Newman, California.
You have to understand this was not supposed to happen here. My department is hurting. We're struggling through this. We're a family. We're not an agency. We're a family.
Singh, originally from Fiji, is survived by his wife and 5-month-old son. President Trump tweeting, there is right now a full-scale manhunt going on in California for an illegal immigrant accused of shooting and killing a police officer during a traffic stop. Time to get tough on border security. Build the wall. Wicked winter weather heading east after dumping nearly a foot of snow in western Minnesota. It also caused blizzard-like conditions in North and South Dakota. The storm claiming the lives of 2 people. Heavy rain is forecasted as it moves towards the eastern half of the country. Nearly a foot of rain has already fallen in parts of the South. And Amazon's Alexa was a popular holiday gift this year, but be careful setting it up if you received the device. A fake setup app has shot up to the top of Apple's App Store charts. The app, called Set Up for Amazon Alexa, is from a company that reportedly has released other questionable apps. This one asks for your device's serial number and an IP address, which could expose you to cybersecurity threats. And another chance to become a millionaire. There is a new Mega Millions drawing tonight after no winner was selected Tuesday. The Mega Millions jackpot is now up to an estimated $348 million. The odds, and this is my favorite part, the odds of winning a jackpot are about 1 in nearly 303 million, or flipping a penny 28 times and having it land on the same side every time.
Is that hard, Kat?
No, I thought it would be a lot more in terms
Me
of
too.
flipping a penny on the same side.
So you're saying we have a chance?
We have a chance.
Yes.
So after the show, we're all going to go play the Mega Millions.
Absolutely.
Why does it feel like the jackpots keep getting bigger and bigger?
Right? I don't know. My
are.
husband plays Powerball all the time. Like, he's convinced this is how we're going to make it.
I just like scratch-offs. They're pretty fun. I won $2 on Christmas Eve on some scratch-offs.
And what did you do with the $2?
I left the ticket at home. I don't know.
What?
Not to brag, but, you know, I don't really need $2 that bad. So
I take it.
That's actually happened to me
1%.
before.
yeah, I am a 1%er.
All right, coming up, we're going to have more on the shutdown showdown because the partisan divide in Washington shows no signs of easing anytime soon. Ahead, we'll be talking with one lawmaker to see if a deal can get done. The new year means rising minimum wages. In New York City, it's going to go up to $15 an hour, and the minimum wage is set to rise in 21 other states, either due to automatic increases or residents who voted to raise it. Let's bring in the former CKE restaurant CEO, former Labor Secretary nominee, and the author of The Capitalist Comeback, Andy Puzder. Thanks for coming on this morning.
Great to be here, Lauren. Thank you.
So, I mean, minimum wages are tough for businesses to stay in business, right?
I bet many of you, I mean, I started with a minimum wage job. I'll bet many of you did. They're important jobs.
I did have a minimum wage job.
Me too.
I wasn't very good at it. Didn't last long.
Yeah, but you learn a lot, though. You learn a lot about business and how to work and customer service. You learn many things.
Andy Puzder, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Happy New Year. All right,
too.
Coming up, choosing your own ending. Netflix out with a new show today that lets the viewer take control of the plot. Details straight ahead. A pair of moms revolutionizing the men's formal wear industry. The groomsman suit is offering top-of-the-line suits, tuxedos, and accessories for less than the cost of a typical rental. So Maria Bartiromo sat down with the co-founders of the groomsman suit, Jeanne Foley and Diana Ganz. They began their unique founding of the company following Jeanne's own wedding. Here you go.
We're planning a New Year's Eve wedding, and we just decided tuxedos are the way to go. And our goal is to really help men look like $1 million for a fraction of the cost.
I love it.
Yeah.
Congratulations, ladies.
Thank
we
you.
love entrepreneurial stories, and you guys are just knocking the cover off the ball.
Thank you so much.
Congrats. And the company is the Groomsman Suit. Check it out.
Thanks again to Jeanne Foley and Diana Ganz. All right, coming up, Tesla's new board members. We have the details on who's joining straight ahead. Thank you to our panel today, Katherine Timpf, John Layfield, and Marie Harf. Thanks, and thank you for having me. To the viewers, filling in for Maria Bartiromo this week, and that does it for us. Varney and Company is up next. Charles Payne is holding the fort down for Stewart and Varney. Charles, it's looking like a good day today.